The Russia-Donald Trump story has grown more, well, to say it's grown or we are aware of how big it has gotten over the last 24 hours. It is not only the FBI, but there is an interagency group involving 6 American agencies that are investigating the Russian attempt to influence the presidential election of Donald Trump. We are 24 hours before the inauguration. The knowledge that this interagency group exists in and of itself is huge. But even bigger is that this is a detailed investigation. This interagency group is looking not only generally at Russian influence over the American election of President-elect Donald Trump, but they are looking at the money trail, where and how, whether and how Russian money was covertly used to help Donald Trump. How would that money have been moved, etc.? The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Justice Department, the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, and a representative of the Director of National Intelligence working together, investigating connections between the president-elect, who is hours from being sworn in, and a foreign entity called, in 2012, by the Republican nominee, our greatest geopolitical foe. This is massive. But, Pat, what about Hillary Clinton's emails and Benghazi?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there's plenty of reasons to give legitimacy to these claims because many of these agencies have been looking into these allegations since the spring and summer. Certainly, if they found something conclusive to denounce them, they would have released that by now.
This is not something, as Pat is alluding to, that these agencies are just starting to casually consider whether to take a look at. Maybe investigators are reportedly examining how the money may have moved from the Kremlin to uses meant to help Donald Trump win the election. And one of the allegations involves whether a system for paying thousands of Russian American pensioners may have been used to pay some of the email hackers in the United States, or maybe to supply money to intermediaries who would then pay the hackers. This is all according to sources familiar with the investigation. Even more interesting is that this interagency group has been working together since before the FBI received the information about the alleged Russian blackmail file. We can only assume, I believe, that since the release, since the acquiring of this alleged Russian blackmail file, that it has ramped up this interagency investigation. I don't think people realize how huge this is. Trump's transition team was asked for a comment about this. They didn't respond. This is McClatchy, D.C. You can't write this off as easily as fake news. This isn't Fox or CNN or Rush Limbaugh or Jim Acosta asking you a question at a press conference, which is not to delegitimize Jim Acosta in any way. This is McClatchy, D.C. They were all over the Panama Papers. This is a serious news organization. At some point, this is going to explode, right? I mean, the Trump lies are slowly unraveling. The suspicions are slowly being confirmed. This has got to be a bomb waiting to go off.
And it's really just a matter of horrible timing because regardless, Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated tomorrow as the 45th president of the United States.
Yeah.
You have to imagine that if it was so important for understand the context of Hillary's email scandal during the campaign, this story was just as important.
Oh, yeah, no, there's a total lack of urgency on this from the Trumpists. Get Hillary's emails out there, get 2 letters and 1 press conference, or 2 press conferences and 1 letter from James Comey about the status of the Hillary Clinton emails investigation. Oh, Trump-Russia connections dating back months and months. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for us to hear about that. The inauguration is happening, but it is happening under the shadow of a multi-agency investigation into how a foreign power considered by the president-elect's own party just months ago to be our greatest geopolitical foe, how they helped to get him elected. Trump has had more scandals during the transition period of the last 2.5 months than President Obama had in 8 years. And if you can shoot people on Fifth Avenue, Pat, and nobody will care, clearly the Trumpists in total denial here about this. I don't know what we could tell them to get them to care about this.
Yeah, Trump has even had more scandals than Lincoln Chafee, who, if you remember, had no scandals throughout his whole political career.
I will be sort of paying attention to the inauguration tomorrow. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. But I am going to be paying very, very close attention to, I guess there's like, what, 8 to 10 Trump-related scandals currently going on between pay to play, quid pro quo, interagency investigation into Russia, cabinet corruption, and alleged insider trading.
The
And also,
sexual assault allegations continue, as we're going to learn about today.
yes, we're going to talk about that. There's nearly a dozen scandals right now around President-elect Donald Trump, and tomorrow he will be speaking. If you believe what his aides say, he wrote the first draft of his speech. He will be speaking tomorrow as if everything is just fine. I'll talk more about his speech a little later. Thanks for watching this video. Before you watch the next one, remember, we're raising money to expand the David Pakman Show Big League, as well as expand progressive activism. Go to davidpakman.com/donate. Donations of any size are much appreciated.